All right, let's talk New York City boycott. But let's set down some rules before we get started. There is basically 4 aspects to this. The first aspect, we're going to get rid of right off the bat. Political agenda. Now, whether you're in favor of the boycott or not in favor of the boycott, honestly, for this discussion to find out how it affects you, just throw that right out the window. Okay? No political agenda here. Now, another part of the rules before we get started on this is there's a lot of videos out there that are fear-mongering, that are just basically creating chaos about what's going on. Let's take all the emotions, the fear-mongering, the scaring people, oh, this is really happening, and all of that stuff right out the window, okay? Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the whole thing. Let's talk about how it's going to affect you as a consumer if you live in New York City or anywhere else in the country, how this boycott is going to affect you, all right? I have a unique perspective. I'm a company driver now. I've been an owner-operator, so I understand different levels of trucking that are going to very strongly apply to this situation, the boycott in New York City. So let's talk about it. Now, if you're a company driver, basically a company driver is, if you're a company driver, you have one of 2 ways to set up loads. One is you're assigned a load and you have to take it no matter where it goes, and you can't say no. Otherwise, it's insubordination and you can lose your job. The other one is you have a company job where they allow you to deny loads. That is a thing, and it does exist. So in this scenario, as a company driver, you're either going to lose your job if you don't take a load to New York City, or deny that load and go somewhere else in the country, which is always a possibility. So they're not losing income by going somewhere else, okay? There's also companies that control all of that. Now the company itself can decide, we're going to support the boycott and not send anybody to New York City, or we're going to say, let's make as much money as possible and go wherever the money is. And if it happens to be in New York City, it happens to be in New York City. That's a thing too, okay? Now that you understand that aspect number 2, if you're an owner-operator, then that's a totally different type of trucking. I mean, they haul the same freight, but it's a different type of trucking. The reason why I say that is, as an owner-operator, you choose when you work, how you work, what you're going to do for work. So an owner-operator can just say, you know what, I'm not taking any loads to New York City. I won't lose any money because I'm going to drive, out west or anywhere else in the country. So they're not losing money by not taking loads to New York City. They're just making it somewhere else. And that's a strong possibility. They're not going to be sitting somewhere alongside the road like a normal boycott would be. They're still making money. They're just going somewhere else. Okay? The second part of an owner-operator is, and if you don't understand trucking, I'm going to explain one little fact right here, but it's just so that you can understand how this works in trucking. In trucking, there's freight, okay? And you get paid to take freight. Now, what the market will pull on that freight depends on many different variables, okay? There's a saying in trucking called don't take cheap freight. The reason why that's a saying is because there are owner-operators out there that will take freight at a much lower value because they think they can make money doing it. But in the process, all the other truckers make less money because they're driving down the price. It's the same concept with this New York City boycott. One owner-operator say, I'm not going to New York City, I'm going to go somewhere else. Well, right behind him is 10,000 other owner-operators, some of which are willing to go to New York City because it pays better, and they're always looking for a bigger paycheck, and they could care less about anything else that goes into it. So for every, I'll try to put it the best way I can. For every 10 drivers that decide I'm not going to New York City, there are a line of 10 behind each one of those 10 that are willing to go to New York City. See what I'm saying? Do me a favor. Do not boycott the like button or the subscribe button or the bell. Make sure you go hit all 3 of those right now. Don't boycott those. Definitely go subscribe, hit the thumbs up, ring the bell. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Let's get on with the video. So the third aspect of this is the economy. Now, whether you're living large or you're having a hard time, you cannot deny that as a country, we're not doing very well, economy-wise, across wide spectrums of people, not just you as a person. And so if that's being true, people can't really afford to lose their jobs. People can't afford to turn down money, which makes it more reasonable what I'm about to say next. Now that you know what you know, how does it affect you as a person? Okay, if you live in New York City, I'm not saying you're not going to run out of, I don't know, green beans or whatever produce, or things like that. I'm not going to say you're not going to run out of any of those. What I am going to say is you're not going to starve to death. There will still be things on the shelf because there will be company drivers that are required to drive in there. And there will be owner-operators that will just take the money. They don't care about all the other stuff. Now, let me add to this also. If you're going to boycott New York City, you have to realize that most of New York City's stuff doesn't come in to the city on a semi. It gets delivered to distribution centers that are in New Jersey and Connecticut. So they get delivered there, and then they get brought in on usually a smaller truck, but sometimes semis, into the city. And those are company drivers that bring it into the city. They don't have a choice. They're going to go there whether they like it or not. Or they're going to lose their job, which in case there's 10 more truckers out there looking for a job to take that job. So that all being said, let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. How is it going to affect you? If you live in New York City, you might have to go without paper towels for a day or two or a week or two. Okay? You're not going to starve to death. There's going to be plenty of food. Don't rush to the store and buy a bunch of food. Don't listen to the fear-mongering. But not to say there won't be some hard times. Because honestly, from the wave I'm getting on my end of the trucking spectrum, there's a large number of drivers, owner-operators that are going to contribute to this. That being said, you're not going to starve to death. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Okay? You'll be all right. The worst comes to worst, you drive over the bridge going to New Jersey and buy some food. Just saying. New York is a very unique area because you don't have to drive very far to be in another state or another area where food is going to be much more plentiful. So, it's just my opinion, but so that's my take. You're going to be okay. If you live outside of New York City, it's not going to affect you at all. At all. Now, as a trucker, it's going to affect us because freight rates are going to go way high in New York City if they're having trouble getting people to deliver there. And that's going to have a lot of owner-operators, wondering, do I support this or do I not support this? Do I go for the money or do I not go for the money? That's a personal decision that I'm not going to judge, and neither should you. But in the end, it's not going to really affect you. Always remember, truckers are people too. And if you like this video, you're really going to like this video. So go watch it. It's about famous truckers, and you'd be surprised. It'll blow your mind, to be honest with you. All right. Have a great rest of your day. See you on the next video.